Hello everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another review. And today, everyone, we have a very special review today. And I am beyond excited to finally have this in hand and to finally have it in my collection. I'm blown away by this. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and show it. Today we are going to take a look at the Jurassic World Hammond Collection True FX Spinosaurus. Yes, we finally have the Spinosaurus in hand, the Hammond Collection one, and I am just beyond excited to finally have this. Oh my gosh, I'm just as excited from when I got the Giga and the Therizinosaurus last year. The hype level is just through the roof for this figure, and I'm just super excited. I'm glad we finally have the Spinosaurus in the Hammond collection. Now all we need is the Indominus Rex. I'm assuming that one's probably going to be a 2026 release, most likely, because Mattel releases one giant dinosaur each year. But anyways, just for right now, I am so happy to have the Spinosaurus. This thing looks insane, and it is huge. I already cannot wait to compare it with the Giga. And yeah, the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus is really special throughout the franchise. And with Jurassic World Rebirth right around the corner now, Mattel, they really need to give us a Hammond collection figure of the Rebirth Spinosaurus, so then we can have both variants from the franchise in a Hammond collection form. So yeah, taking a look at the packaging here, it's a really giant packaging. I think it might be slightly bigger, or at least taller, than the Giga, only because of the giant sail. But overall, I think it's roughly the same size as the Giga packaging, and maybe even a bit longer. I know the Giga has a really long tail, but the packaging anyways looks really cool. You got the cool Jurassic logo up there, Jurassic World up there, the True FX logo, Jurassic World Hammond Collection Spinosaurus, an awesome render of the Spinosaurus from GP3. On this side of the box, we got the Hammond Collection logo. And then on the other side, again, we got the Hammond Collection logo, and finally, some more pictures with these figures. As I said, with the Lost World Raptor and the Stygimoloch, I'm really happy they're finally giving us more of these in-movie images, just because it just feels really special when you have that with the figure you're getting. So you can kind of see what movie it's from, especially with the logo. You got the awesome Jurassic Park 3 logo. I love that logo. And then we got a cool little bio here of the Spinosaurus, along with a picture that says, in a pivotal moment on Isla Sorna, the Spinosaurus and Tyrannosaurus Rex battle for domination. As Dr. Alan Grant and the others are too close for comfort, the Spinosaurus definitively defeats the Tyrannosaurus Rex and takes the primary predator position, even securing top billing in the iconic movie logo. That is awesome. So yes, there's a lot of controversial stuff going around with the T-Rex dying in the hands of the Spinosaurus, but honestly, it's not that bad anymore. I thought it was really cool. The Spinosaurus is awesome. But yeah, the fact that this dinosaur is special enough to get its own logo is awesome. And you got the same thing with the bio and everything on the back, along with some cool images of the figure itself, and it looks gorgeous. I cannot wait to open this thing. And then we got the True FX premium details for enhanced realism. This figure pretty much represents that. I guarantee they used a lot of the models, the models that the movie crew created for the purpose of the film, just to kind of get a good look at the dinosaur to help create the animatronic and all that. But yeah, that's basically it for the packaging, everyone. Let's go ahead and open this fantastic figure. And here we have it. The Hammond Collection Spinosaurus out of the box and in its full glory right here on the table. And holy cow, this figure is amazing. It is so cool looking. This is definitely the best Spinosaurus, not only from Mattel, but the best Spinosaurus from every Jurassic Park toy line that has ever existed. That includes Kenner, and that includes Hasbro, and obviously that includes Mattel. This is the best Spinosaurus figure out there for any Jurassic toy line. This is like the Spinosaurus I've always wanted. This is like the one that I wanted as a kid to stomp around in some bushes to chase all my human characters. Because just the overall size and the colors just brings me back to Jurassic Park 3. Just brings me back to all those toys that I would see like online or like on toy movie videos, and just wishing that I had a figure like that to play with. And I didn't have a giant Jurassic Park Spinosaurus growing up. I just had to use smaller Spinosaurus figures that I had. I think I even used like an Imaginext Spinosaurus. But yeah, this is the best Spinosaurus there is. Like, without doubt. So hopefully you guys can see this okay. I'm doing this when the sun isn't even hitting this spot. I know it's kind of bright back there, so hopefully it's not taken away from this whole video. Just when the sun hits here, sometimes it can be very hot to try to film when the sun's just like peering down on you. So I'm gonna try to get through this hopefully before the sun hits this area. But taking a look at this figure, it is phenomenal. It is big, it is well proportionate with a good sized head and neck and the length of the arms, really small and proportionate feet, a huge and tall sail, and a very long, or at least a very well proportionate tail. This figure is just amazing. So detail wise, it's pretty much exactly how it is in the film. I swear, Mattel probably took that model that they had for the Spinosaurus in the movie and used that for inspiration. I think a lot of inspiration of that came into the colors, but I think a lot of that came into the sculpt as well. The head sculpt is one of the highlights of this figure. Look at that head sculpt. That is Jurassic Park 3's Spinosaurus right there. That is an excellent, excellent head sculpt. The scale detail all over the face too, if my phone can focus, is phenomenal. Look at all of those individually sculpted scales and all the little line creases around the eyes and the famous line texture around the mouth, which is famous on the animatronic. See, the face here is based off the animatronic and probably that model, whereas the face the CGI version is definitely just a little bit different. But I definitely like the animatronic sculpt much better. You can see little nostrils right there. Just overall really nice scale work, especially here on the top of the head, looking very nicely done. And the teeth are just well sculpted. Look at the teeth. They're made out of that separate rubbery material, so they're not painted. I mean, they might have a little bit of a wash on it, but they're not going to get all scuffed up when you play with this thing. Though I feel like this should be more collector based than buying just to play with it or play with it too rough. You can see the scales here on the underjaw are really nice as well. Nice texture on the underside. Front of the face, oh, that looks so menacing, looks so cool. Straight out of Jurassic Park 3. And the glass eye is really nice too. Got that nice green color with the slit pupil on the inside there. It looks really good. Moving on to the neck, nice skin folds right there. It's a nice like rough skin texture. A little bit of like a scale work going on here, but it's kind of more of like elephant-like rough skin. I like how Mattel kind of, you know, mixes both those things together, just like rough skin and some scales. On the top, you got some famous crocodilian looking, like scoot looking scales on the top right here. Very, you know, key feature with the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. You know, the Spinosaurus are always having like these crocodilian features to it. I don't know if it's entirely accurate in real life, but I think it's a really cool looking thing to look at. But yeah, really nicely done. I like the little wash they kind of, or dry brushing they added on these, kind of brings out the sculpt a little bit. But yeah, really nicely done. And the underside is mostly just like this is really basic, you know, smoother lined texture for the underside, because there isn't really a whole lot that goes on underneath there. But I mean, it's detailed enough where it looks really good, so can't complain there. But yeah, the neck was really good. The entire body is really nice as well. In terms of the sculpt, I like how you can see some of the muscles kind of showing through the skin right there, like where the hips are and where the, I guess, shoulder blade is. I'm not exactly sure that's the correct term, but hopefully you guys know what I mean. And some nice little line texture and stretch marks, skin folds all over the body right here, and some really nice kind kind of like scales, or just like that elephant-like rough skin texture on the side right here, which is really nice. And on the top right here, before you get to the sail, you got the key characteristic of the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus, these large crocodilian-like scutes on the side right here. I could have sworn they maybe continued a little bit down, but maybe they don't, I don't know. Kind of hard to spot sometimes, but I like how these are sculpted. They look really cool. Just adds some more uniqueness of the sculpt of this dinosaur, and it can just kind of fades into the smaller scales, especially here on the back. Really nice looking scales right here. And I like how they're painted. They're painted like this light brown, then you got like this dark brown wash or dry brushing over it, which kind of makes them pop, so that's really cool. And the arms, some more nice skin detail right here. A little bit of some muscles poking through the skin, but overall just really nice texturing in the skin right here. The arms, I mean the hands, are really cool too. Nice little scoots on the fingers, classic big claw, and then little claws, famous with Spinosaurus. Now interestingly, the hands, or the wrists I should say, are made of a softer rubber, which is really interesting. So I don't wonder why they chose that. I don't have a problem with it. I just find it very interesting because the other giant carnivores do not have that. Now moving on to the sail, let me just scooch my camera up a little bit. The sail is well done. I love how big it is. It's not so tiny and puny like the extreme chomping Spinosaurus. It's just a big, tall sail, and it looks really good. I love the little texture that they added onto the sail, the little line texture on each of the little spine rods sticking out, which is really cool. And some more, like, I like how the scales kind of just fade into those line textures, but overall it's really cool. You can see the little seam line right here where they connected both pieces. It's present on this this side, but not on the other, which is interesting. So this side obviously is a bit better, but I do like how it kind of flows with the overall waviness of the spine, so it's kind of hard to look at, or easy to miss, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I love the sail, and I love how it's just connected to the body. I like how it's not like a separate piece, you know, like other figures, so just kind of makes it feel more complete and believable. Moving on to the legs, really nicely done on the scales all throughout the body right there. Some more of the muscles poking out of the skin right there. Just some nice overall texture, especially around the kneecap area, then around the legs, just some nice line texture. A lot of the dinosaurs from the first trilogy had a lot of these lined textures in the skin rather than scales. But when you reach the Jurassic World era movies, all these dinosaurs are just like covered in scales. So it's kind of cool to see the difference in CGI over time. But yeah, you got a lot more of those classic lined texture in the scales, or in the skin, and you got a lot of nice detail around the ankles. And the foot, really nicely done. I really like how small they are, very well proportionate, and it just looks better to look at too when you look at the full figure. Nice scoots on the toes, and they kind of go up the little ankle right there. You got the little dew claw on the side. Sadly, it is not painted, which is very interesting because the T-Rex and Giga has theirs painted, so it's probably the only downside I really have with this figure is that the dew claw isn't painted. As you can see on the back side, the scale work and the skin detail is really nice. Here on the back side here, a lot of cool skin folds and stretch marks right here. And I really like the scales on this side. They're kind of reminiscent to a crocodilian, but kind of like an elephant, but just they have just more of like this large scale pattern. I really like how Mattel did that. It's very true to the Spinosaurus in the film. But yeah, I really like that, and that continues down all the way down to the tip of the tail, and it just pretty much fades into like this rough elephant skin texture. You know, got some little cross hatching right there, kind of like a cage or whatnot, if that makes sense. And then the entire top side, you got a little bit of like little spines sticking out of the back right here. Some more like the scales and the skin texture goes all the way down to the tip of the tail. But it looks really nice though. The tail is made out of a softer rubbery material. And yeah, same thing can be applied on the other side. The figure looks just as good on this side as it does on the other side. And yeah, I absolutely love this figure. It is fantastic. The colors are spot on. it looks just like the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3, especially that model that they used that's more of like this brown color. I would have thought they would have given it that gray color that we saw in the movie, or at least in the CGI form, I guess. But the animatronic and the model that I'm assuming this is based off of is in this brown color, and I actually like the brown color a tad bit more than the gray, even though the gray does seem a bit more classic in a way. But I really like how the brown looks, and just the overall colors are just amazing on this figure. You got a really nice brown base color for just the entirety of the figure, a nice little white cream color for the underside of the jaw and for the entire underside of the figure before it fades into that red tip. Then you got like this classic white markings on its face, which look really good. This thing looks so realistic. It's so cool. You got the famous white markings on the face and that famous stripe that kind of goes down in a jagged pattern all the way down to the body, and then it kind of fades into the leg right here, and I like how it kind of blends into how it like fades, and then it stripes a little bit on the legs. Now obviously in the movie the striping is a lot more complex, a lot of tiny little thin lines that kind of go throughout a little bit of the body. It's kind of hard to add that on a mass-produced figure, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay if they don't have every single line. I think Mattel did a perfect job representing this Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. You got a little bit like that white texture here on the bottom of the sail, kind of like that jagged motion, a little bit of like those little dots, and it kind of stripes up. Now the sail, I will say, maybe the design isn't quite accurate to what we see in the film, because it had a little bit of like a design on it with some blue and all that. Sadly, they didn't capture that on the sail, but overall, I think they captured the look of it, you know, fairly nicely. Even though it's not entirely accurate, I think it still looks pretty good. And there is still a little bit of that blue in the sail, so that counts, and I like that. And you got a little bit like this orangish color in between there, with the white stripe sticking up. So that just looks awesome. As you can see on the face, you got some dark, like maybe dark gray or dark brown, maybe black little striping or markings around the white areas of the face. Even some more down here in the lower jaw, just kind of makes the head sculpt pop. Just the details is super amazing on this one. And that dark brown all the way throughout the eye socket, which darkens the eye a little bit, brings out the green a little bit more. It just looks super menacing. A little bit of that dark color here at the lower jaw. And you got some of that on the dry brushing up here as well. A little bit of like that dark brown kind of on the neck here as well. And that's pretty much where that goes. Oh yeah, you actually got a little bit of that dark brown here on the back side right here. And then some more along the edge of the thigh right here. So really cool. The claws are painted in a black glossy paint color. Same with the hand claws. So those look really good. You also got a little bit like this light beige or orangish color kind of around the face area, kind of dry brushed on there. It's really cool. Kind of adds the detail a little bit, brings out the sculpt, I guess. And you got a little bit like that dark, maybe like not dark brown, maybe like a dark red on the top of the skull, which kind of brings out the head a little bit. The head, I swear, is the highlight of this entire figure. And then you got a little bit of that orange color on the body, kind of dry brushed here around the side of the flank region, which looks really cool. And then, like I said, the green eye is really nice as well, pops. And then you got the classic red or reddish orange color for the face, which looks really good. The face just looks so awesome. And then you got that red, kind of covers majority of the face, then it kind of fades into the back right here, and then fades into that brown, and then the red kind of continues all the way top, you know, the outline of the sail, and it continues all the way down the tail until you get like a red tip. That is pretty accurate. And yeah, you got a little bit of that white color kind of striping up, or kind of coming through from the underside up here as well, which looks really good. So yeah, the colors are phenomenal on this figure. Everything about it. it's just super good. And then the teeth are molded in like this beige plastic, which looks really good. So yeah, I love the head sculpt, as I keep on saying. And it's really cool to look at this one and compare just how different it is to the Spinosaurus we get in Jurassic World Rebirth, which I'm hoping we get a Hammond collection version of that sometime down the line. I would love to compare both of those. So yeah, paint job is good, sculpt is excellent. They're both excellent. Now let's get on to articulation, which is where the Hammond collection thrives. So moving on to the jaw. The jaw are actually, okay, maybe this is the second thing I dislike, I guess, about the figure, other than the unpainted dew claw. But the jaws are like on these really weird ratchet motions, kind of like the Giga and the T-Rex. But it feels very, very fragile on this figure. Like, I don't know, I kind of feel like it almost feels like it's gonna break at times. So, but it works. I didn't get a defect or anything. It works. It just feels off in some way. So definitely not something I recommend kids playing rough with, because I don't want them to actually break the jaw. But it's good for posability, I will say. So each jaw can move individually, the top jaw and the lower jaw. We'll start with the top jaw first. Hopefully you guys can see. Okay. So we're gonna start with the top jaw. See, there's some give to it too, but it goes up about that far, which is really cool. Got a little bit like that semi-roaring look to it. And then you can even make the lower jaw go, which this one scares me the most, but it does work. You just got to give just a little bit of force to it, but not too much. And there it goes. And then you get this really, really wide roar position with its mouth open. And this is as wide as it can go, so it can't go further, but it looks so good. This will be good for it to grab onto other dinosaurs, it roaring at a human character, but it just looks really good overall. Captures the look of the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus. You see a little bit of how good the teeth are. They look so good here on the top jaw and the lower jaw. Really nicely done, Mattel. And you can even see on the inside of the mouth, it's molded in this fleshy pink color, very typical with Mattel dinosaurs, and it just works for these animals. I love how the inside of the jaw are just completely painted, unlike some of the mainline figures. A little bit of texturing on the top, not too much, it's very smooth. The tongue looks really cool too. It's made out of this rubbery material, but it's got some nice texturing to it, and some more texturing on the back of the mouth right there. The little gum flaps or tendons right here feel very thin, much more thinner than the T-Rex and the Giga. So I don't know if these are gonna break. I hope not, but they feel very thin. But they have like this really cool wet, glossy look to it, which kind of gives it like that saliva look. Same with the tongue a little bit. But yeah, the mouth is really great. So in addition to each jaw moving individually, and it's only got like, actually, yeah, the top jaw could just move in its normal position and an up one. Same with the lower jaw. So you only get 2 positions for the most part in terms of how far they can go. They can go this wide, or they can shut all the way, or we can move one jaw individually to get like a different roaring pose. So I guess that works. I kind of wish these had the jaw articulation like the Carnotaurus. That one has the best jaw articulation of any Hammond collection dinosaur. It's just very fluent, and it's good just to move it freely and not have to be all ratchety. But oh well. And then the jaw is articulated. I mean the tongue. You can make it move up that way, which kind of looks a little weird. The tongue is usually connected to the lower jaw. It doesn't usually stick out like that, but you know, you can move it if you want. And that's pretty much it. I'll keep it open like that. That looks really cool. And then for the neck joint right here, you can move up about that far, down about that far. So really, really good there. It can't really rotate, and it can move side to side. That is awesome. It can move side to side. Sweet. That's gonna make posability so much fun. And then this part of the neck can go up about that far, down about that far. It can rotate too, which is really cool. And it can move left and right. So you can get some really nice looking up poses. Let's see, I might need to, there we go. You get some really good looking up poses. You get some really good looking down poses. Look at that. You can make it look through the water, like in Jurassic Park 3, make it roar at someone. And then you can also make it look to the left and right. Oh, look at that. It looks so good. You can make it look left and right. Oh my gosh, posing this thing is gonna be awesome. So yeah, you got that in the neck. The arm is right here at the shoulder. They can pivot in and out and rotate forward and backwards. The elbows here, forward and backwards, as well as rotate. Excuse the dogs next door. But yeah, the articulation on the arm is actually really good, very fluent and not so stiff. The wrists, despite being made out of a rubbery material, can position up and down, and it can rotate a little bit. Just try not to force it because it's made out of a rubbery. I like to keep mine in a non-pronated position because I'm weird like that. The sail doesn't have any articulation. I'm glad there's no midsection articulation. Probably one of the worst things about the Hammond Collection T-Rex, in my opinion. Glad they kind of moved away from that. Here at the thigh region, the legs can pivot in and out, and they can move forward and backwards. And I like how each one is like at a ratchet joint, so it's gonna make it easier to stand despite, you know, wherever you pose it. So I like that a lot. The knee joint, forward and backwards, as well as rotate, which is really good. Same with the ankle, a bit more stiff than the rest, but they do move forward and backwards, and they also rotate. And the foot, the toes, can also rotate as well, 360, and they can move up and down. So yeah, I don't want to move it too much because I don't want to get it out of this position I have it in. But yes, the feet on mine move very fluently and there's no give to it, so the articulation is pretty much great on this figure. And then lastly, on the tail, you know, it's on a ball joint-ish, so it can go up and down, left and right, and it can also swivel. Swivel is a lot more fluent than the other positions, and it's made out of a bendy wire, so you can bend it, and it feels very much like the Giga and the Theras. There's just less give to it, so you can position it however you want. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this Spinosaurus. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some comparisons. All right, so first up here we have Dr. Alan Grant, the Hammond Collection version from Jurassic Park 3, compared with the Spinosaurus, and the size is great. I just love how massive it is. The scaling is perfect. Yes, I understand there's probably like 2 different sizes between the Spinosaurus during Jurassic Park 3 and then when it's fully grown in Camp Cretaceous, but it's the same dinosaur, and this figure pretty much represents both in a way, so I think this is a pretty accurate representation in terms of scale, and I'm hoping you guys can see this okay. I know it's kind of bright in the background and really dark in here, but I'm hoping you guys can see it perfectly. But yeah, scaling is really good for a human character. Next up, we have the Hammond Collection Spinosaurus compared with another fellow Spinosaur in the Hammond Collection, the Baryonyx, my favorite. And they look really great together. It's nice to see 2 Spinosaurs in the franchise in the Hammond Collection. If only we'll get a, if only we can get a Suchomimus from Chaos Theory. Though I don't know if Mattel's going to do any Hammond Collection versions of those animated shows, but we'll see. But Baryonyx and the Spinosaurus look really great together. I love the color difference between them. But I will say the Baryonyx needs a heavy updated figure like ASAP. Needs new sculpting, new paint, new rubber teeth, and there's just a lot of stuff that needs to be updated on this figure because this one is pretty outdated compared to the masterpieces that we have here already. But, you know, it still looks really cool to compare both these species. Next up, we have the Spinosaurus compared with the Giganotosaurus, the Hammond Collection version, another favorite figure of mine. these two look so good together. I definitely would say these are probably my top 2 favorite giant carnivores in the franchise for right now. Their Hammond collection figures are just spot on, really accurate to what we get in the films, and they just look really great together. And I like how the Spinosaurus is bigger too. The Giga is actually bigger in terms of length because it's got a really long tail, but the Spinosaurus wins in terms of height, and I like how the sail pretty much tops over the Giga's back, so that's really cool. Technically it's the largest carnivore height-wise, I guess, but they look really great together. And last but not least, here is the Spinosaurus compared with the T-Rex. And as you can see, there's a huge difference between the giant creatures that Mattel made before and their current one. The T-Rex, much like the Baryonyx, is pretty outdated. Definitely needs a major update with a lot of things in terms of maybe the sculpt, proportions, you know, smaller feet, the more skinnier rubber teeth. And mine's kind of slumped down because the thighs on the legs are just, they're kind of starting to get all weak. But I just love the newer improvements that Mattel has been doing with their current Hammond collection figures. So hopefully we'll get an updated T-Rex later down the line after we get all the other giant carnivores. But they do look really good together, and I like how the T-Rex is definitely smaller than the Spinosaurus. So picture taking with these two would look awesome. And finally, here is a group shot of all of the giant carnivores that we have in the franchise so far in the Hammond collection, compared with the little Alan Grant right there. And I'm glad Mattel is doing this. These look phenomenal together, even though we need a major update on the T-Rex. You know, just having 3 of the 4 giant carnivores currently right now in the Hammond collection is great. So Mattel usually releases 1 giant carnivore each year. So I am hoping, fingers crossed, that next year we'll get the Indominus Rex. That is the other giant carnivore we need before we move on to Rebirth and future movies. But the Indominus is the last one we need of the current lineup of giant figures, and I'm hoping we're gonna get one, because that one's, I can already tell you, is gonna be the best Indominus we've ever gotten from Mattel. And just judging it based off of just how good the Giga and the Spinosaurus is, man, I can't wait. And it's gonna look so good comparing all of them together. So everyone, that's about to wrap it up for this review. I do apologize for how long this video is. When it comes to a Hammond collection figure, you know, there's just so much to talk about, and I keep on rambling about how awesome the figure is and just going through all the details and stuff like that. So I do apologize for how long these videos tend to be, but I do appreciate if you guys end up, you know, just kind of hanging around and watching throughout the entire video. It means a lot to me if you guys happen to do that. But if not, you know, hey, no worries. I don't really care. But I just love doing these reviews on YouTube. I love collecting these figures, and I'm gonna collect these figures till the day I die. So anyways, I'm still rambling. A really fantastic figure, the Hammond collection Spinosaurus. Definitely one of the best, I would say, amongst many others. And I can't wait to see what other figures we're gonna get later on. You know, I'm definitely hoping for an Indominus Rex and an Indoraptor. And then within the next few years, I'm hoping for a Distortus Rex and maybe the Spinosaurus from Rebirth. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. But really exciting. I highly recommend this figure. I mean, don't even skip it on it. I recommend you guys pick up this figure. It is awesome. Hopefully you guys are able to find it. It took me a little while to try to track this figure down. It was never available in Targets, but I managed to snag one when I first saw it. So I'm really happy to have that. So yeah, I recommend picking this one up if you guys happen to see it. But yeah, it's just a gorgeous figure of a really gorgeous dinosaur that's pretty important and iconic throughout the franchise right now. So yeah, overall a 11 out of 10, I would say. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this review, and I'll see you guys again for the next video.